Morning, everybody. It's Joan Nielsen here. Beautiful, sunny morning that I'm having here. And I just was listening to, I'm still in my jammies, and I just had to come and do this video for you because I just had an epiphany happening to me and I just wanted to share it. A while ago, I was asking a question out loud, and Loki had answered me, even though it wasn't directed to him. It was to myself, trying to figure out stuff. And that's usually what I do, is I ask myself questions like, you know, how do I do this, or how am I going to get to that next step, or whatever it is that I'm trying to figure out in my own head. And I'll ask it out loud. And Loki had answered me and said, "You just have to do the dishes." And I was thinking like he was meaning like actually doing dishes. So I never really thought about it. I thought about it, you know, that could be really interesting. Okay, I'll think about that. And you know, of course I do dishes. So every time I would do the dishes, I'd be thinking about what he was meaning. Like what did that mean? And I always like to think about that, because I always think that for me personally, I believe everything means something. So since that time, I've found myself on a kind of roller coaster ride. I want to implement something, but then I don't implement it right away, or I'm having trouble implementing it into my own head. And whenever I feel a negative thought coming on, of course I do what I tell you all to do is, you know, you meditate, you go for a walk, or write about it or something. But I've been really focusing on being positive more, instead of really sitting with myself with that feeling and going, okay, what's going on? And I just kind of push it away and push it away. And then it gets to the point where you're just going to get to the breaking point, because you're not really dealing with the feelings that are coming up. The feelings are coming up, the body problems are coming up, the stomach issues, or the headaches, or the dizziness, or whatever it is coming up because of something you're not dealing with. And that was what was happening to me. I wasn't dealing with something, and my own thought process, whatever's going on in me, which is, like for me right now, is where am I going? What am I doing? Like for my own self, my emotionally, physically, you know, where do I want to be in life? What is it I want to do? And how do I get there? How do I get there from here? Knowing what I want to do, how do I get from here to where I want to be? But not dealing with that, wanting to stay positive and knowing that doors will open, and knowing, but the fears are still there, and the self-talk, the negative self-talk is still there. Instead of reminding myself, instead of telling my fears that it's okay, I would just continue on my positive, instead of dealing with what is. And so feeling stuck, feeling scared, feeling, you know, all these emotions that would come up. And so my body would start acting up. And then we got a nail in our tire, which started losing pressure. So we had to get that fixed right away. And then I was listening to Louise Hay this morning. Actually, I was listening during my sleep. I like to listen to audios sometimes during my sleep to get me back onto where I want to be, to remind myself where I want to go, who I want to be, and what I want to do. So I was listening, and this morning as I woke up, I was listening, and she started talking about cars, and how cars, not only do our body represent where we are, but our cars represent, our vehicles represent where we are. And so if you have a flat tire, then, you know, your thought process is probably you're being stuck. And that was exactly how I was feeling yesterday. I was feeling stuck. And I wasn't dealing with it. I wasn't dealing with that emotion. I wasn't talking to myself about it. I was ignoring it. You know, for a while now, I've been ignoring it. And then she said, it was so ironic. It was just beautiful. She said, we all have to do dishes. we all have to, you know, everybody does dishes. But what we forget to do is our dishes in our own thought process. We don't wash our own dishes. We don't wash our own feelings. We don't wash our own thought process. Sometimes we just leave them in the sink and move on to positive. And I was just blown away. I was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. I haven't been wanting to deal with all my negative because I like staying positive. I love the feeling of being in love. It's the most amazing feeling. But there are times that you need to acknowledge and know that those negative thoughts, that those negative feelings are either from your past that you haven't dealt with, or there's something that's coming up now that you're not wanting to deal with. But until you look at them, until you wash them clean, you're going to keep coming back here to this point, wherever you are. So when the kids were little, when my older kids were little, I used to do scream therapy, because when they would get frustrated, that would be one of the things to do. Another one that I was teaching Loki would be to kick the bed, you know. But I haven't been doing that for myself, not even crying. As soon as I feel myself getting to that point, I go, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta go and listen to an audio that'll pick me up, or I gotta go for a walk so I can get back to being happy, or and I realize that I did that. Although those are wonderful, wonderful things, I also did myself a disservice by not paying attention to these emotions. Not that I don't complain about them. I don't want to complain about the situation that I'm in or what's happening. What I want to do is focus on, okay, why am I here? Why am I feeling this? What feelings are being brought back up in this situation that I can look back at and go, okay, maybe I haven't cleaned this dish yet. Maybe I haven't polished that up yet. Let's figure this out and then let it go. And forgive that situation. Remind my fears that I am okay now. Remind myself that I can live in trust and I can walk down the path knowing that that lion is not going to hurt me. Knowing that whatever's in front of me is okay. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it through. And I don't have to walk in fear. I don't have to walk not knowing, because I know that everything's working out. Instead of holding on to all those emotions, I can finally wash them up, polish them, and let them go. Make sure they're nice and clean, and I don't have to hold on to them anymore. And there's always going to be times where you have to do something like that. So it's not like you do it once and it's over. There are going to be constant times that you are going to have to deal with what you're upset about, what you're frustrated about. And if you can't talk to anybody about it, which is usually the case, everybody else has their own stuff. So you may not have somebody to talk to about it, because then they'll want to talk about all the negative aspects of it, you know, and you don't want to go there. You don't want to go to the negative part of it. You don't want to complain about it. You don't want to stay in that complaining aspect, but you want to be able to feel these feelings, feel the frustration, get angry at it, get so frustrated, and then let it go and forgive, because that's where you're letting it go. That's where you're washing up those dishes. That's where you're allowing yourself to continue through instead of staying with that frustration, because it's going to come out eventually. And usually what happens is we hold on to it too long, that we end up in a fight with someone, an argument with someone, and we didn't mean to. And then you're stuck with a situation that now not only are you frustrated, but now you have someone else who is frustrated as well. And you don't need to go there. You don't need to deal with that aspect of it. So if somebody has done you wrong and you feel frustrated, before you stop that frustration and put on your happy face and not worry about what happened, feel that frustration. You don't have to tell them about it. You don't have to just know that love melts all situations, so you don't have to do that, but you need to get that out of you. So whether you're screaming into a pillow or banging on a bed or crying, whatever it is, do it. Do what you need to do. Do it by yourself. Go for a walk and cry it out, whatever it is, and let it all go, and then come back to your center, and then come back to your alignment, and then know that you are okay, because that is so important. And it was so important that I had to come out here in the beautiful sunrise. Can you see it? There it is. In my jammies, to tell you how important it really is. So as soon as you're feeling those feelings, let them out. Cry if you have to. Don't complain about it to everybody else, because that's the part that everybody gets stuck on. And then we get stuck in the victim mentality, and then we get stuck on, oh, hey, cool, I could use this. It's so important for you to know that you are not a victim. And when you're feeling these negative emotions, or they're not even negative emotions, they're just emotions, and they're just a different kind of emotion, and they're telling you something. You are feeling this anyways. This is your thought process anyways. Feel it. Allow yourself to scream it out. Allow yourself to cry it out. And then forgive, let go, and move on to the better feelings, to the happy feelings, to the loving feelings. Love yourself. Know that you are okay and that you are loved. Do some mirror work, because it's so very important. But just don't hide up those feelings anymore. You need to let them out. You're worth it. You're really worth it. And if you don't, it's gonna come up in so many different ways. You're gonna start seeing it in your life. People are gonna start cutting you off in traffic. You're not gonna find the right parking spot, or any parking spot. You're not gonna get any deals, because everything that you're putting into, even though you're trying to be happy all the time, and you're going, okay, I'm being happy, why isn't this doing this? It's because you're covering up. You're covering up the stuff that already was annoying you and already was frustrating you, and now it's showing in your life. So it's coming back to you, and it's saying, you need to deal with this. So deal with it first. Wash those dishes. Wash those emotional dishes. Allow them to be there, because they're there for a reason. You're already thinking of it. You're already feeling it. Wash them. Scream it out. Write a letter. Write an angry letter. And then rip it up and burn it and let it go. Cry. Scream into a pillow. Cry. Beat your bed. Write a letter. There are so many tools that you can use to get rid of these emotions. And once you've gotten rid of them, you can let them go. And it's so, so amazing. But you need to wash those dishes first, dear. That's so important. I know, because that's what I've dealt with the past little while. And I realize now, after listening to Louise Hay this morning, I realized that I was still holding on to them. I was just burying them. So the dishes were just sitting there on the counter underneath something else, hiding, that I wasn't washing the actual dishes, and I wasn't dealing with what needed to be dealt with. And then once I dealt with it, once I allowed my frustration to come out, then I realized that how important that is. And go for walks. Even if you have to go for an angry walk and cry while you're going. It's so important. It really is so important to just get those frustration and anger and out. Not at anybody else. Don't talk to anybody else about it, because they don't need to hear about it. It's just your frustration. It's yours. And eventually, when you calm down, then maybe you could talk to them if you feel you need to. But usually we don't need to. We just need to allow our own frustrations out. And you are worth that. And that's where so many problems come in for relationships, as we get so caught up on who we want to be that we forget that it's okay to let it go. It's okay to feel the frustration. Even though I don't want to be an angry person, I want to be a happy, positive, inspiring person. all the time, but I can't always be that because I am human just like everybody else, and I do get frustrated, and that's okay. You know, it is okay to be frustrated too. It's okay to be sad. It is okay to be at wit's end and not know where you're going or what you're doing, because once you acknowledge that, that's when you'll start seeing things open. That's when you're letting go. You're finally letting go. You don't have any control anyways, so you're letting go and you're saying, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I don't know where I'm supposed to go, but I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling lost. And then allow your frustration to come out and beat a pillow, cry, go for a walk, or meditate. Meditation on that, asking yourself. Or go to the mirror and talk to yourself. And stay there until you actually know what you're doing, what your next step is. Because that's so important for you to have a relationship with you. That's the best relationship you could ever have in your whole entire life, because from the moment you're born to the moment you die, you're the only one with you. You'd be very lucky if you have a sibling who lasts with you that long, or if your parent lasts with you that long. You're so very lucky. But you are the only one who's going to be with you for the whole entire life, knowing what you go through every second of every day. And you are worth being your own best friend. So go spend time with you in a mirror and allow those frustrations to come out to you, and forgive yourself and forgive the other person or other thing that happened. It's time you worked on you, and know that these emotions are okay too. So get washing some dishes, some emotional dishes. And make an amazing day, everybody.